guys, welcome to Who Gave Jeff Allen, that's that guy, a podcast with me, Carollynn Xavier. I still can't believe I get to be here. It's so exciting. Today we have a really exciting guest. It's my first time meeting him ever, but I've talked to him for 3 minutes, and he's hilarious, so you're going to love him. And him and Jeff go way back. How far back? I mean like Coke in the 80s, far back. So now, go. You guys are on.
Yeah, hey.
Thank you for those kind words.
Allow me to introduce one of my closest friends on the planet. There's 6 billion people, and probably not one of them any closer than we are. We go back to the days. Jeff Jena is a.
That's me.
I've been around. You can tell by looking. He's what are you? 33 now? 34.
Yes, I'm actually.
You said your 34th birthday.
Yeah.
This is a Waffle House.
It would be the 29th anniversary of my 34th birthday.
Okay, yeah. So we go back quite a ways. I love telling this story. When I met Tammy, you and I would go on there was a booker in Louisville named Tom Sobel, who will have his own chapter when they write about comedy in the 20th century. He used to book all these one-nighters at college towns, and all week. He kept me alive literally for years. Kept us both alive for years.
Exactly.
We would travel from one college town to the other college town. We would play golf, go to the next town, play golf, and do a show, and go 2 weeks, 14 days.
And there was a lot of time to kill even between golf and the shows. So maybe, I'm not saying this, maybe there was some drugs and drinking going on during the daytime.
Maybe.
Some day drinking.
Maybe some strip clubs? I don't know.
No, we didn't.
Actually, we never did. I was never big on the strip joints, you know. It's like
I thought that just went with the 80s. I thought
no,
you
but
had
you
to
know
have one
what?
with
To
the
me, and this is not my bit, and I wish I could give credit because I don't remember who did this bit, but the bit was like going to a strip club, like going to a great restaurant, having the chef come up to your table and go, "Look at this menu. Kitchen's closed." You know, it's just I never got the point. You know?
Well, I see. My attitude was, because Tammy asked me, I said, there was a club in Dallas that was literally across the street from a strip club. So I'd go and have lunch, or before the show, I'd go over and have dinner. But I'd eat a sandwich and just watch them dance. I mean, but to me, it was like, you know, the reason I don't go to an exotic car dealership, I can't afford the car. So what's the point? You know? So anyway, yeah. So anyway, we would do these 14 shows. One night, 14 shows, golf. It was great. It was. I look forward to it every year. So I get married in July of '86. So '87. Oh no, I had met Tammy in '85. So that was it. '85. We were engaged that first year. I left her house in Ohio. Gave her a kiss, and then I was married that July. So the following May, when we would go out for our 2-week trip, I cut it to 1 week. And then the following year, it was 0 weeks.
No trip. No trip.
Yeah, I learned pretty quick. You just don't call your wife at home who's got 2 little kids going, "I'm having a blast. Me and Jeff are killing it. We're rocking on the stage. We're golfing every day." My God. Yeah, right. That's
Even to this day, though.
Trying to tell her I'm making money. I mean, I'm bringing home the bacon. You know,
Even when I'm away, and I do a lot of cruises now and other things. And I was just down in Florida for a week. And actually, Carrie came down with me for a couple of days.
Cool.
But, you know, after she goes home and is back at work, I'm not like...
Carrie's his concubine. That's his wife.
But I'm not at home going, I'm having the best time. You know what I did today? I laid out by the pool. It was 80 degrees. And it's like 35 and rainy at home, you know? I'm like, I wish I was home.
I feel like as someone that's married to a comic, I'm like, it is a bunch of BS when he tells me how crappy it is out on the road with Jeff. Yeah. He's never said it's crappy. He's always like, I miss you so much.
Well, I love the fact your husband's like your age, so he's young. And I told him, I said, well, welcome to my world, bud. Pajamas on by 10.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Okay, so I know we were joking about you guys buying drugs together. Are you in recovery too? Are you guys both? Did you guys go down that path together?
Not really together, but around the same time.
You were living in California when you got sober.
I was living. Yeah, you know, we all make that mistake. In 1989,
The year I was born.
I got arrested in North Carolina for several things. Among them, operating a vehicle while under the influence of various things. And that was the beginning of, there's something wrong here. There's something bad going on here. And at the meetings, they always say, do not discuss any crimes for which you may still be prosecuted, for the room offers no protection in these matters.
Right.
And, but I think the statute of limitations is up on this. So I'm
35, so you might be safe.
Yeah. I used to have driver's licenses from several states. Before driver's licenses were computerized.
Ooh.
Oh, those were great days, weren't they?
They were.
And I had one time had 4 different state driver's licenses. And if I would get pulled over for speeding, I would think, which one? Oh, I haven't had a ticket in Ohio in a while. Here you go.
I've known you for over 40 years. This is all new to me. I never knew that.
Oh, well, it was,
Juggling.
Why didn't you teach me that? I might have been still able to drink for another 3 or 4 more years.
it was illegal.
It's illegal.
I don't discuss my crimes while I'm committing
Oh,
them.
that's so great.
And so
The internet ruined everything.
it did.
It really did. Well, now it's like we were talking about the other day. You remember that? Did you have this when you were a kid? When you messed up in school? That's going on your permanent record.
Oh, yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Well, now they have a permanent record.
Now
It's
you've
the
got a
internet.
permanent
It
record,
is.
right?
But
Exactly.
for us, it was like.
And oh my God, thank God there was no social media when you and I were running around the country together, posting pictures of ourselves.
I'd spend the rest of my life scrubbing.
Right.
Because I would never have my clothes
I
on.
would never have a life.
I would never have my clothes on.
Oh, I used to streak. Back in the 70s, streaking was popular. And you just take all your clothes off and run through a business, like a Pizza Hut or whatever, naked.
You know, that's how Brent lost his, my husband, before he was doing stand-up and he was a teacher full-time.
Right.
And that's how he lost his teaching job. He thought it would be so funny to post a picture of his naked butt on the internet. And some of his students found it, and then they printed it and spread it around the school. And they were like, what are you doing with this? And it's like,
wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Wow.
that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, tell any young woman out there, if you send any type of picture to any man, just make sure it's something that you're not embarrassed of. So when it gets out to everyone else.
Well, that's it. Really. It is your permanent record.
And I've tried to teach my son, who's 26 now, from the time he was very young, there's no such thing as internet privacy.
None.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything you put up there, no matter, even if I'm sending it from me to you, somebody can find it.
Right.
There's no such thing as internet privacy.
Okay, so how would you would have like a fake address?
No.
And then
Yeah.
Go
well,
get a new driver's license?
yeah.
Like you had
well,
a buddy?
like for example,
The government was a lot more trusting back then.
I lived in Illinois at the time, and I had an address in Chicago. So I had an Illinois driver's license. My parents lived in Ohio, and so I had a driver's license with their address on it. And when I moved to Chicago, I had been living in Detroit in Michigan, and I had an old address that I kept up in Detroit that I had a Michigan driver's license on, and which it didn't expire for 4 years, and I didn't see any point in turning it in.
You get pulled over and just sifting through your licenses in front of the cop. Let me think.
You have to
Hey,
make
which
that
one
decision.
do you want?
You have to make that decision before he gets to the car.
Yeah.
But so.
And you used to speed. I remember.
Oh, I used to. I
remember we got pulled over going.
That's
to,
a crime I could be prosecuted for because I still speed.
We got pulled over going to Miami.
Right. Of Oxford,
at
Middletown. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it turned out the cop went to school there as well. So
Right.
you guys have this great conversation.
Right.
You gave me the line. I've done this in my show where you started doing 100 miles an hour. I go, you speeding again? He goes, yeah, what are the odds I get 2 in one day? And I thought, you know what? He's right. That's right. Nobody's that unlucky as to get pulled over twice in one day.
So
So what other cons have you done? Tell me.
Well, some of them may still be.
Well, you're in GA as well. You had a
Yeah, I had. I mean, it's like alcoholism or any other drug addiction. It's like you're never cured. I can never go back to gambling again. I started playing poker, kind of in the poker craze, and just.
California had poker rooms.
Right, yeah. I used to go to the poker rooms in
remember
California and that, and it got out of hand. And I told people it's like drugs. I could go anywhere in the country and find an illegal game within 2 hours. You know,
Right.
I could be,
I used to say I could find cocaine in the Vatican.
Yeah,
you just kind of see the people. It's like this unspoken thing.
and somehow it seeks you out. Almost,
It's like gaydar, the gay men
know.
can find gay men. You know, they just, it's so you see that.
I just realized when you said gambling, because you said GA, and I was like, oh, Gamers Anonymous, and I was like, Jeff seems a little bit old for video games, but
No,
I
it's
get
funny
that,
though.
like different type of game.
I started with
though,
Pong.
but it was funny though, was I used to think I never had that gambling thing because I learned early on that how I felt after losing was way worse than how good I felt after winning.
Yeah, and
it was devastating. But then I lost half of our retirement account in the futures market.
that's a form of gambling.
You better believe it.
Yeah.
I remember watching TV one night when I just got my account open, and I'm sitting there, and I lost like $1,500 on a copper future by the time I took a bite out of my rib. And I got greasy fingers, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out of it. And Tammy's over there, and I don't want her to see, because she would go, what's going on? I didn't want that question. But I realized I probably, with my addictive personality.
That's what it is for me, too. I went through a gambling phase. It was pretty harsh. It was like I would wait. I had a young baby at home, and my husband was a Marine, and it was Pechanga in Temecula.
Yeah, the Pechanga Casino, know it well down there.
You're like, my name's on the wall. I'm not allowed in. I'm just kidding.
I always used to joke like I'm going to go down and make a contribution to our Native American brothers. they need some reparations.
Yes, they do.
This is for the reservation.
So you're a poker player?
Yeah, I was. And
Seven Hold'em or
3-card poker was my favorite because it was easy.
It's a table game. It's yeah.
Yeah, and so what I would do is I would get off night waitressing because, believe it or not,
Were you a smoker?
No.
You never smoked?
Never smoked.
Okay.
I used to be...
I just had this image of you.
Yeah. Hit me.
Hit me. Yeah.
Give me another one.
Yeah.
My husband was a Marine, and I would waitress nights, and I had a young baby at home, and I was kind of going through, like, a young life crisis. Like, all of a sudden I had this kid. I was like 19. I had this husband. He was going off to wars all the time. I didn't know what to do. I was waitressing nights, and believe it or not, I was like a solid 6.5 back then. Don't want to brag. You could see my abs. And so I would get all this money waitressing from recon Marines that were just trying to be flirty, spending their whole paycheck. And I'd have this huge wad of cash, and I wouldn't want to go home. I'd be all like, I'm awake. And so I'd go to Pechanga on the way home. And what I would do is I wouldn't drink anything. I'd totally dehydrate, and I'd sit right where the cards came out. So I knew no matter who got up and moved from the table, eventually the odds would be in my favor because those cards were just going to keep coming to me. And then one time I won like $5,000, and then another time I won like $6,000, and I was like, I got this. I'm a gambler. And then I lost all of our rent, all of the money in our bank account one night, and I was like, it was a hard lesson to learn. I was
Yeah,
like, I'm
see,
never
when
doing
my
this
first
again.
trip to Vegas, I lost the entire check by Wednesday, and that was it for me. I would hit the $20 on my way to the airport. I would go to the Mega Millions, and I'd play 20 coins.
Right.
And the funniest story, I was playing 7 stud once. We had the kids with us. I was married now. And I asked Tammy, I said, is it all right if I just go play a couple hands of 7 stud? I enjoyed that. Mm-hmm. And I had a pair of kings in the hole, and this guy doubled the bet, which was $8. It was $4. I'll make it 8. And I dropped. And then I left. I realized I just got knocked out of a pot because I was scared for $8. You just can't play.
I wish that would have happened to me.
I know. It was so funny, though. I mean, it really was like an epiphany. I go, my God, I just ran out of a game. Which, by the way, kings in the hole are pretty darn good.
That's pretty strong.
So, anyway, Tammy went one night. She doesn't gamble. On 2 stories about Tammy. The first one was I gave her $50. And I don't know, 3 minutes later, she's back at the table, and I go, "What, bored?" She goes, "No, it's gone. It's gone. This place sucks. I hate this place. $50. It was like I'm gone." And of course, everybody's around the table. They've just lost their mortgage. You've lost 50. Relax. Right. So then the next one, we were in Atlantic City, and she's sitting where Carollynn is. I'm on the other end of the table, right. And there's 3 or 4 people between us, and she's looking at me, and I'm going, and she does the exact opposite of what I tell her to do. She hits 18 in blackjack, right? Mm-hmm. And she hits a 3, 21. And the lady next to me goes, "Who's this dumb bee, man?" And I go, "I don't know, but she seems like she's winning." You know how it is. You get somebody like that, right. you get up, you just leave. Right. Well, 8 people, nobody stayed more than 3 hands with her sitting there. They would just go, "Holy cow, I can't stay at this table. This woman is a nut job." Everything I told her, she did the opposite. And she ended up, she lost whatever I gave her. But I thought that was so funny. But that to me is what gambling should be. It should be enjoyable. You laugh, you cut up, you're not losing.
Well, it's the same as drinking. For some people, drinking is enjoyable. And they have 1 beer, they have 2 beers. Ooh.
Can you get your head around that?
Yeah, no.
Can you get your head around that? I see guys after a round of golf, they have like a beer and they go home. I go, "How do you do that?"
Exactly. I go, and like people go, "Oh, this beer tastes." I go, "I never drank for taste. I only drank for effect."
Yeah, trust me, you're not drinking 30 in a day because it tastes good.
Yeah, it's no, and it's the same. It's
So you and I got sober about the same time.
Yeah, my clean date is in 1989. So
now, when was Miles born?
Miles born in 2000. No, he's born in 1998. Yeah. And like my wife has never seen me drink. She's seen me gamble. She's been with me through gambling, but not through drinking. Right. So,
Tammy, I made a year. I think after meeting her, drinking, and then I had to quit. But the residual, I was not sobriety, and I didn't connect very well. It took years. And whatever I was drinking to stuff. Right. Started coming out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in the form of demonic possession. But
well, gambling. My dad went through a deep gambling phase. Lost his retirement. It was rough. But what he loved was when he was growing up in Ohio, his family was extremely poor, and so it was always like, "Oh, those are like those dirty poor kids." Was kind of family of 8, Irish Catholic. Right. The dad left, he had all the money, then the mom was just too proud to go on welfare. So they were like it was so cold in Ohio one year, they burnt up the piano, all the furniture, and they would wrap themselves in rugs just to stay warm. So poverty-stricken. And when he had all of this money after he retired, all of a sudden he got to be Mr. Big Shot. He got to be the cool guy. "I'll buy a round of drinks for everyone," or "I'll get you could have some more chips," and he got to be Mr. Big Shot. So what was your tie to gambling? Because I saw him go through that.
There's a thing in the literature of gambling that says some people abstain from gambling without the knowledge of ever understanding why they gamble. And I have no idea. It wasn't want, it wasn't greed, I don't think. But if you read the literature on gambling, it's interesting to know that,
I personally think it's just all dopamine.
Was it tables or slots?
I really believe that it's the cocaine.
Well, I was an equal opportunity gambler.
You'd hit it all.
But my preferred game was playing poker. But if I would go someplace and there wasn't a seat open, I'd go play the slots for 10 minutes or, while I'm waiting or whatever. It's not like I stood there tapping my toe going, "Come on."
My saintly mother, I didn't know this until she was almost passed on. My dad told me that she ran up all these credit card bills playing slots at the casinos.
Well, Instagram Reels is marketed, it's made after slot machines. So it taps into the same side of your... Just digging for gold, digging for treasure. The next one's going to be a winner. The next one's going to be a winner. The next one's going to be a winner, and it plays on that same brain chemistry.
Where you scroll endlessly,
and then 3 hours is gone.
But you're right. That's the dopamine. Studies have shown it activates the same center as the cocaine.
They say pornography and cocaine. If you do the brain mapping, it's the same.
Yeah, well, it's the same with
the same with gambling as well. It's the rush, the adrenaline, and that's what I said. I felt if I lost, which I did mostly, I'd go back to my room and I would berate myself verbally. I'm a loser. I'm a lowlife. I'll never win at anything. I mean, it was a deep psychological pain.
Right.
So, and when I won, I never went back and said, "Well, I'm a winner. I'm a winner." I mean, look at me. It just.
Yeah. Now, people who tuned in for comedy, we'll be right with you.
No, this is what it is about. It's been funny. It's we cover it all, man. Here, and I think this is going to speak to some people. I'll bet you 3-1 that there's somebody out there.
Maybe so. And maybe so. And if it helps,
I'll give you 5-1 odds. Yeah. That there's someone watching this.
but you're right. No, but you're right. And if there's a better life, and there's and here's and I'll tell you something. My
35 years removed from it.
Well, from the gambling, 20 minutes. Plus years, 20 minutes from disaster.
Did a bunch of scratchers on the way in.
But I'm 20 plus years from gambling, but not quite 20 years actually. And
so let me ask you this,
but let me just say this though, as my friend who is my sponsor in that program says to me, everything I wanted to get at a gambling table, I got when I quit gambling. I wanted to have money. I have money now because I don't gamble. I wanted to have relationships that were good. I have good relationships now. I wanted to have a nice car. I have a nice car now. He goes, everything I ever wanted, I got when I quit gambling. Right. And it's a great way to look at it. And he's right, It's like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a thought, but it's gone now, man.
I have the same problem. So I struggle.
You do? You're 35.
I know.
Doesn't get better.
I'm doomed.
I brought you on because you could be that young part of my brain that's long gone.
You have so much more energy than I've ever had.
Oh my gosh.
So I struggle with my addiction issues. People always assume because how I look that it's like drugs and alcohol, but actually it's like food and some essay issues. I've been really struggling lately with food stuff, especially like coming off of Easter. How did you go from I want to quit this to putting it in action? Because that's what I keep struggling with.
Well, it was pretty simple. I was, I'll tell you my aha moment with gambling. And we have a job where we don't have to account real carefully for our time to our spouses or loved ones, right? So I could tell my wife, "Oh, I'm going down to do a gig in San Diego," or I got something to do, and I'd go. I got 2 nights at the Improv. I'm just going to stay at the condo tonight, when I'm not working. You drive down, whatever. But
she's like, he gets booked a lot.
So I'm at a poker place, and it's 3 a.m, and my phone rings, my old flip phone, and nobody's going to call me at 3 a.m. except my wife, and I don't know why I answered the phone, because it would have been easy to just lie the next morning and say, "Oh, I didn't hear it ring, I was just asleep," But I picked up the phone, and my wife goes, "Where are you?" And and this is part of the story I tell in the meeting. I say, I couldn't think of a new lie fast enough. Right. So I just told her the truth. I said, "I'm at a poker game." She goes, "Well, you better get home or you're not going to have a home to come to." So on my way home, I'm feeling remorse and regret and shame and all those things. And I got home, and my wife says, "I think you need to go to Gamblers Anonymous." And I'm like, oh. And even
it's
though
funny, but at this point, you're 10 years in AA.
Exactly. And even though I knew that that's exactly what I need, I'm in denial that I have a problem.
Right.
I'm just on a bad run. I'm just having it's bad. It'll turn around. I'm going to get all that money back, which are just those lies we tell ourselves. And so I went to an AA meeting a GA meeting the next day in Anaheim, California, and the guy, Lanny, who was my original sponsor in the program, I went to the meeting, and it's a lunchtime meeting at the Recovery Center in Anaheim, and I'm just looking around the table, and there's about 10, 12 guys there. what a bunch of freaking losers. What am I doing? And it's the same thought. It's weird. It's the exact same thought I had when I
Of course they are. If they were winners, they'd be at the table.
It's the exact same thought I had when I was in the drunk tank in Raleigh, North Carolina, when I'm looking around going, look at all these drunk and I don't belong here. And the thought kind of comes to you and go, yeah, you're right where you belong.
Right, exactly.
You're just like them.
I remember I got arrested and thrown in a lockup in Louisville, and they offered the Spam, the sandwich.
Right.
And I'm not eating that. I'm not you people. You want to eat some meat? That's why I never got these people going, you going to eat some meat? I go, no, I'm not actually. I'm better than this.
Yeah.
And like you said, my bail didn't come. I'm there for another 12 hours that I didn't count on, and all of a sudden that Spam looked pretty darn good to me. No, I'm gonna get away from me.
I am one of these people. I'm exactly where I belong.
Right, exactly.
So
12 hours later, you're going around to the new guy. You're gonna eat your meat.
Yeah, I love it's how egalitarian addiction is. Yeah. It doesn't care what your status in life is.
I tell my
when I lost everything, half of
Right.
everything in the futures market. That conversation with Tammy, I love my wife because when I had the issues with the sex stuff, and I went to her and I said, you need to put a tracker on my phone. You need. She goes, no, I'm not going to be married to a man I can't trust. Fix it.
Yeah.
So when I told her I lost half our retirement account, she just looked at me and went, you're done, right? And I go, yeah, I turned everything over to a professional. She goes, okay. And that was the end of it.
Yeah.
That was the end of it. And, I just love the fact that God gives us these people, wives, or in some cases, husbands, to, Bible says we become one flesh. All of a sudden, you start lying, and again, you realize you're lying to yourself.
Right.
By lying to her, you're lying to yourself. Yeah. And that's where the shame for me came in, was all of the, and then I got caught lying to her. I worked it out where if I was going to hit a massage place in Nashville, I would tell Tammy I'm landing at 10 when I landed at 9.
And you have an extra hour.
I had the hour, so I can hit. And she forgot at one point. She called me, and the phone didn't go to voicemail like it would if I was on the plane, because I shut my phone off on the plane. And she goes, where were you? And like you said, I just couldn't think of.
Can't think of a new lie to tell fast.
I couldn't, traffic. I mean, and
flat tire.
And I finally told her I was at a massage place, and she goes, "What are we doing there?" And I was getting a massage. She said, "What?" And then I just told her, I said I got caught up in that for about 2 years earlier. And anyway, she looked at me and said, "Fix it, fix it. I'm not going to be one of those wives that are sitting at home tracking their husband."
Right.
And if I can't trust you, then we'll just cut it. So, again, that was chipper.
With the essay stuff, it's so funny because it's like easy to be like, oh, well, I stay sober when everything in my marriage is a dream boat. And then, but for me, it's like the second Brent starts to piss me off, or he's not Mr. Dreamy like I thought, or he lied to me about something, or he did something, it's like, thankfully, by the grace of God, I haven't acted out on anything, but it's like that, all of a sudden that tape kicks back in.
Right.
And then all of a sudden dudes on, like, the what's crazy for me is, like, it comes in the version of, like, this weird narcissism. Like, some guy will be really nice to me at a gas station. I'm like, yeah, you want some of that? Like, I'm like, yeah, what, buddy? You ever seen a mom in yoga pants before? Like, and it's like that tape kicks back in, and then all of a sudden I start to look at anybody of the opposite sex in a different way. Like, it doesn't matter who they are. It's just it's like that brain is like, this person hurt me. I know exactly what will make me feel good and feel better about myself right now. Mm-hmm. But then the truth is, the other side of that is like, it's so much more painful, and it just like drags me into the pit.
Well, that's where I learned from, and I'm sure you learned this as well. You think it through. Yeah. Because when you first quit drinking, your reaction to everything is, I need a drink.
Right.
I need a drink. And then you go, and when I was whining to my sponsor about I can't drink anymore, he goes, oh, stop that. You can drink anytime you want, so nobody's going to keep you from it. Yeah. But think it through. You almost lost your wife and kids. I mean, it's going to cost you. not the $5 the can of beer is going to cost you. It's going to cost you your life. It's going to cost you all this stuff. So it became almost an ego thing for me. I could drink if I wanted to, but I choose not to today. So I was in control. Again, I could.
I love how you
know,
your hand.
But it is. It's so. The arrogance of the human, the broken human, is amazing to me. I used to say the only thing that exceeded my arrogance was my ignorance.
I got to jump in. This is my brain. So you say, I had an essay problem. I go, were you reading too much Thoreau? I went, never mind. I got it. S-A, not essay.
Essay. Oh, right.
I got it. Hey, she's really into Walden. I don't know.
Yeah. The more and more you get to know me, you'll be like, yeah, I don't think she could write a sentence, if I'm honest. Yeah. I don't want to make you jealous, but I do have a GED.
From California.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So basically, I just had to say I was vegetarian, and they gave me that's all they need.
Well, you look non-binary. I think that we had that in the last discussion. So you and I go back to like
early
80s in Chicago.
Right.
We caught the boom. We caught the wave.
I remember the night we met. It was at the Comedy Womb.
We're the birthplace of comedians.
Oh.
How's that for marketing?
Yeah.
As
brilliant.
a marketing person.
Right.
Nobody ever gets the tingles to go see a live show with the word womb attached to it.
I don't know. They did well.
Yeah.
You guys gonna go down to the laugh uterus later, or what?
I'm surprised. Somebody could use that.
So back then, comedy had to be so different. So like, was it during the comedy boom? Was it like, I could pay my bills, I could be on the road, like I could do this, or was it like I lived in my car and it's feast or famine?
Well, when I started, I'd been a school teacher and I had a pretty good job and I was making a decent living, and it came to the point where after a couple years.
Tell him why you quit teaching in Houston. Your standards. He was an English teacher.
Mm-hmm.
No, I actually was math and science.
Science.
But English, right?
The kids he failed. How many kids?
I had a class, a 6th grade class, and there I was teaching everything. I was teaching because it wasn't broken down by subject area in the public school in Houston at the time. It was just like you were the classroom teacher and you taught math, you taught science, you taught English, you taught everything, right? And so I had 28 kids, I think, that year, and I think I failed 19 of them. I recommended 19 of them be held back. And the principal called me in.
You had to do that today and string you up.
The principal called me in for a meeting and goes, I really don't think we can do this. No, we can't hold 19 kids back here. I said, I'll take them all again next year. I'm not going to pass my problems on to the next teacher. I said, I'll take them again and I'll keep them.
Yeah, it was their standards that they failed.
Right,
it wasn't yours.
No,
you
it
didn't
wasn't.
set the standards up here.
Yeah.
It was this is what they said. This is what passing is.
But don't you think there needs to be more of that?
Oh, hello.
Doesn't there? Because
when you get large swaths of kids graduating high school that are illiterate and can't read, I think there's a problem.
Because for friends, I always look when I'm making friends, people that'll be like, you sucked at that. Like, you should probably try that one again. Like, I believe in you and you can do better.
Right.
And it's like, if we don't have teachers like that, like the ego stroking of these kids, I see it where my son goes to school too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you were on Jeopardy.
I was the Jeopardy contestant. I think the year was 87.
I slept on the Jeopardy couch every time I stayed at his house.
Fortunately for me, when I was on Jeopardy, only the winner got the money, and the two runners-up, not losers, got prizes. And one of my prizes was a sofa.
Yeah.
It's a Broyhill.
Broyhill sofa.
And I had that sofa for, in fact, that was 87. We got rid of that sofa 2 years ago. So what would that be, 23? So 23.
Kind of reminds me of the Christmas story.
I had that sofa for like 40 years. Like 40 years. I had the Jeopardy sofa for like 40 years.
Broyhills are good sofas.
And
looking for sponsors, Broyhill. Just saying.
Is it? Are they still around?
I don't even know.
Oh, sure they are. Yeah, they're high-end furniture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
not
not.
sure.
I don't know.
Look it up. Dan, look it up. Yeah.
I've never lived in a space where I had high end. I'm like, you got this IKEA, this pretty sweet IKEA couch. It'll
Tammy
last you
put
a
together
year.
our bookshelves
From IKEA.
from IKEA. That's, to me, that tells you how intelligent and patient my wife is.
So I replaced the doors between our bedroom and there's a little reading room next to it, and they had these goofy bifold doors. My wife had put up with them. She goes, "Let's get rid of those," and we're going to put in the barn door thing, which is very
Oh
popular
yeah, those
now.
are cool.
So we go on the internet, we order some barn doors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, barn door in one package, barn door in the other package, the hanging equipment. How
Done.
hard can this be, right?
Yeah.
They come,
Famous
the barn
last
doors.
words.
Oh,
How
exactly.
long could it take? That's what Tammy
So the
laughed
barn
every time.
doors come, and they're just like slats of wood. It's just like, what is this? And there's no instructions.
Oh, wow.
There's instructions for how to put the rail up and make sure it's level and how to hang the
you
door
had
on
to
the rail.
build a door.
But you had to build the door. And I'm like,
YouTube, baby.
okay, well, you got that right.
Yeah. I love the barn door craze. Every time I go to bed, when I
Mm-hmm.
roll a door open, I want to feel like cattle. You know.
But the problem was that was my mother's signal for your zipper was down. Barn door's open. So when my wife and whoever
Your
going to
mother was
bed-
great. Old Catholic mom. First time I ate at their house for dinner, I reached for something. I got smacked in the hand, and she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were one of mine." So that's what he grew up with.
Are you still Catholic? Grew up Catholic?
Well, Catholic is like being an alcoholic.
Speaking of which, the Pope died today.
He did.
To date our podcast.
Well, this dated our podcast.
And the rumor is that J.D. Vance had visited the Pope yesterday, and then he died shortly
Well, what was
after.
it?
That maybe J.D. did it.
Yeah, well, maybe the Pope shouldn't have been doing fentanyl with JD.
That's the rumor I'm starting.
So
That's terrible. Anyways, okay, so
so
Catholic,
I'm a Methodist now because one of the reasons
Catholic
is
light.
yeah, it is. And like I tell my Catholic friends, it's the same God, it's the same heaven. We have a lot less rules. Like
A lot
you
less.
Catholics have to go to church on Sunday or you're going to hell. I have to go to church if I can't find a tea time. It's a whole different attitude toward going.
Yeah.
But my wife is actually the senior pastor at my church, so
Really?
I show up.
Yes, she is.
Wow.
She
That's awesome.
started at a street church in Middletown, Ohio. Pretty impressive.
And then she just started a new church,
Yeah.
which we're located in a former real estate office, and
Oh,
which
that's
we
awesome.
remodeled, and it's very informal. And we had, I pray, and here's the things I pray for. One, that people come to our church, that my wife's church is successful, people show up. Two, that my son at some points finds some financial success with his music and gets off my payroll.
Is that why he lives in Nashville?
Yeah.
That tracks.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
tracks.
yeah. No. And number three is that I live long enough to see these things happen. And I'm the tech guy at our church yesterday for Easter, and I'm back in the tech booth. We're running the slides and everything. And
Ron Pearson.
And
Yeah, we haven't got a call from Ron on either one of these tapes. What's going on? I know where he is because we have a group we get together at this time on Mondays, and then we're taping on Monday, and I'm missing my group.
But so yesterday, yesterday was Easter Sunday. I'm in the tech booth, and I look out, and usually we have 25, 30 people. Yesterday, there's 60 people.
Oh, it's Easter.
60 people.
Sold out.
And I'm like, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good crowd. And I told my wife, I said, hey, no crowd work today. Do the A material. You got a big
not
group
trying
here.
any new bits tonight.
And my wife was funny. She goes, whenever on Easter Sunday, I always aim the sermon toward the first timers. And she did this thing. It's in this is like so far off topic.
No, it's okay.
do I have a topic?
There is no
We're
topic.
ADD. We have no
So
topics.
when I first started dating my wife, one of the things was, and I had been in recovery a short time. One of the things I was having a problem with, and this is how like God helps us, like directs us into things, right? And one of the things I think maybe we've talked about this, but one thing I'm having trouble with that I'm starting is the whole God thing, higher power, oh that Catholic crap. And So I meet my wife, and we starts getting a little more serious. And he goes, well, we go to church. I go to church. You're going to have to go to church. So I tell people I was a go-along to get along Christian. I wanted to keep dating my wife, but so I'd go to church. And so...
Believe me, there are a lot of people in heaven because of that.
Right. And so I'm at church one Sunday, and our pastor at the time, Reverend Al Watterson, may he rest in peace, Marine Corps chaplain for many, many years, great guy. He comes up to me at the fellowship time after the service, and I'm tapping my toe, looking at my watch. Let's get out of here. We can golf. We got things to do. Yeah. And Al just comes up and goes, and let's be honest with each other. You're not buying all this, are you? And I'm like, nah, Al, I got to be honest with you. He goes, well, let me tell you something. You come next Sunday, and when I get to something in my message that you're not buying into, you just stand up and stop me, and we'll talk about it right there. I'm like,
wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay.
That's a Marine Corps approach.
And he just you got questions. He goes, God does not expect you to leave your brain outside the door. Bring your doubts in. Bring your questions in.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we get together.
That's a church, man.
And he was, and that's how, like I tell people, you can change somebody's life in a minute if you have the right message, if you have the right thing to say to them. And Al had the right thing to say to me.
Yeah.
And he was a Marine Corps chaplain for over 20 years. I never had
that
the nerve to stand up and stop.
Right. Well, who would? It was funny. I was at Denton Bible once visiting, and I was talking to Pastor Tommy there, and somebody came in and said, there's a guy up front berating all of our congregants about how foolish they are. And all Tommy said was, bring him down here, man. Well, I'll talk to him.
Yeah.
And they went up, they came back and said, he didn't want to come down. He goes, yeah, I didn't think so. But he said, tell him he can't stand in my lobby and yell at my people. Yeah, that's against the rules. But so what year was that? Yeah, it was the 90s?
Yeah, there was like...
So you got sober in, what, 89?
89.
Yeah.
And then,
you met
I met Carrie the next year. I met Carrie in 90, and then we got...
She was a golf pro, by the way.
She was a golf pro. That was her other career. She's a professional golfer. She's in the Southern California PGA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And
why did she get into the ministry?
because she felt she had a calling. I mean,
I remember we used to have a lot of deep discussions about books we were reading. We're sharing with her. A lot of Philip Yancey, a lot of that stuff.
You know what kind of moved her was a friend of ours and her started going to BCS, which is Bible study school, like a Bible study program. Yeah. And I hope those are the right initials.
I was just going to ask you what they stand for.
It's like Bible something, but the B's Bible. And it's a long program. It's a year program, and she went 2 years in a row, and then in the intervening time we had gotten married, and we had then moved to Ohio where she BCS, right? Bible says a study. Sorry.
Now you're old, man.
What? And
you look good for 33, though.
Thank you very much. A lot of hard living.
It's a rough life.
It's a hard knock life. Little Annie reference for the folks. Hey,
wow.
But
I'll have Broadway show tunes for 10, Alex.
She had done the Bible study for a couple of years and said, I think I have a calling. I want to go to seminary. I want to quit my job and have a seminary. And I said, well, I don't know if quitting your job is a great idea. And so we came to a compromise, and she quit her job and went to seminary. And, we do those kind of compromises in our marriage. She's been in ministry now for 13 years, maybe, maybe 14 years. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And you said you've been off gambling for 20?
Yeah.
Oh, because I was like, is weird God didn't bless your tithing gambles.
It's coming up. Oh, trust me. that promise was often made. Oh, if you just let me hit this pot, I'm gonna give half of it to the church. Come on, man.
Isn't that great?
You know.
Yeah.
It's like the old story about the gambler who goes to the horse races, and he somehow gets up a bankroll, puts a big bet on a long shot, and he says, God, just let me win this, and I'm gonna pay all my debts, and I'll give you so much money. God, I'll just help you. Oh my God, just please. So he puts this giant sum of money on this long shot, and the horse goes off, and they're coming around. Come on, God, please, God, please, God. The horse starts to move up, and he's moving into the third. Come on, God, you can do it. And they come down the home stretch, and the horse gets about 10 lengths ahead, and the guy goes, thank you, God, I got it from here.
I'll take it now.
So
yeah, I think I did that as a youth.
he does answer our prayers, and then we kind of immediately forget he's done that for us.
I'll take it from here.
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I think when life is good, it's all my will.
Because you're working so hard and you're doing so good.
Because I'm doing so great.
And then when things are bad, it's, well, God, where are you, man?
why would you torture me? Yeah, it's so easy to do.
It's like the old joke about I sent 2 boats and a helicopter.
Right.
What were you waiting for?
Yeah, I do love that. That is so true. Yeah, because sometimes I feel like we don't want to see that God is working through other people in our life because it's not necessarily how I want it to go.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have used that person or that circumstance or whatever. Yeah.
Well, then you get to a point where I'm at with my kids. I've just surrendered. Yeah. I can no longer. My best effort got me right where I'm at, and that's kind of what I came to with the alcohol. You know, there's this realization that you did it your way, and you know how many drunk tanks, how many DUIs, how many, you know.
Right.
So hey, how about giving somebody else? You know, maybe we have an answer here. You know, and and they were right. They were 100%. Every one of those promises in that book, I can say, has come true in my life. I mean, certainly the one about that you'll know a peace that you never knew existed. And again, when you're juggling, I remember I was talking. I got to Boston recently, first time I've worked there since 1989, and I remember I was driving through that tunnel, and I got so emotional in the car, and I realized I got sober there. My baby was born there. Tammy and I, we started our marriage there. There was all of this stuff that was new and fresh, and all of that chaos because of the alcohol and the drugs. It was like I was living 2 different lives. At home, trying to, I had no tools to be a father and a husband. None, zero. Right. Walked in with what I thought it would be, and again, the lie, you go, well, my life isn't going to change much. And then Tammy's putting her feet on my body and shoving me on the floor at 7 a.m. Those boys need a father. Get up. I got home at 3 a.m. You were done working at 10. Get up. Right. What'd you give me? Satan's child. This is not healthy. I remember when I went into a therapist first time, she goes, why are you here? I go, it's just for the sleep. I heard you lay on a couch here. I heard you lay on a couch. I just need to rest. Yeah. So anyway, what are you doing now, man? We call it semi-retirement. I remember talking to you. You still do the cruises?
I'm about to turn 73, and I started taking bookings for next year, and I have some bookings into next year. And I just think, if I'm really, the Pope died. He was 88. Now, if they can't keep the Pope alive past 88, what are my chances?
Too poop the Pope. He just was too poop the Pope. Call that.
So I figure at the outside, I've got 15, 16 years.
There you go. What a great attitude.
And so
maybe you'll open for your son one day on the road.
And so I've been cutting back the last couple of years. And in fact, I'm no longer actively seeking work. You know what I'm saying? I'm not on the phone calling clubs. I'm not sending emails to people. Yeah. It's just like, if it comes, great. If it doesn't come, that's okay too.
The money's good, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to.
That's the drug right there.
Yeah, it is though. I mean, it's like they'll pay you that for an hour.
During COVID,
it's hard to turn it down.
During COVID, I said, you know what? I'm done. I don't need it. And then COVID ends, and the cruise lines crank back up, and my cruise agent calls me and says, "Hey, you want to go out for a week? Here's the money." It's like, yeah, I can't pass that up. I can't do it. I got to take that money.
Yeah.
So, and
comedy is the ultimate gamble.
Yeah.
You gamble on yourself, and sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it doesn't. But it's that the next show is going to be as good.
Well, that's what my father
The next show
told
is
me.
going to be better.
My father told me because I was around when Ray Romano hit it, Tim Allen hit it, Roseanne Barr. These are all people I worked with, and he said that's a carrot, isn't it? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, all you guys on the bottom know somebody that's at the top started where you did. So that's what because my father couldn't get his head around why I did what I did.
Right.
One, he didn't think I was very funny. I'm talking 10, 12 years. I think he saw me work and I just rocked the room. And he came over to me. He literally had tears in his eyes. He says, "You're a comedian."
Oh,
But I was 12
That's a
years into
special
it. And I remember crawling next to Tammy that night. I got into bed and I said, "I got it." She goes, "What? Approval from the old man?" She goes, "Are you whole now?" I go, "Nah." So it was about 35 years too late. But it was that in my father's world, you did your 40 hours. You went to your job. You put you trudged through life. It was this drudgery. You didn't do what I did. He was an extremely talented jazz musician.
and artist.
Yeah, he did. He painted a portrait of your parents.
He did, and I actually looked at that portrait yesterday and went, and had thought about Jack. And that was Jeff's dad's name.
Yeah.
And this is true, like you were talking about my mom. If you knew Jack, you understand more about him, about you, because I see your father in you all the time, and I know you don't.
No,
like
not
that,
at all.
but-
I think I got blessed to get a lot from my mom, but I got the good stuff from my dad for what I do.
Yeah.
The side of me that works on stage is my dad.
Right.
My dad was a brilliant storyteller. I wish I had inherited his ability to mimic. And it's so funny, and we got to wrap this up, but my granddaughter says to me, to Mimi, my Tammy, "Mimi, I really want braids, but I can't do that." And she goes, "Why not?" She says, "Because it's appropriating other cultures." And I showed her a picture of Bo Derek from the 80s. I go, "Did she appropriate?" I mean, Lydia, it's nonsense. But I don't live in that world. I don't live in what they live in.
Right.
So mimicking today is considered cultural appropriation. But my father was brilliant at it. He could hear an accent and just immediately. And I thought how much better my stories would be if I could do that, And I tell the story about I was doing the drunk driving story that ended with, they give you a phone call, like people that want to chat with a drunk at 3 a.m., And my friends quit picking up the phones years ago after midnight because they knew it would be looking for bail money. So I just played Mary Had a Little Lamb on the phone. Beep, 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 beep. It's 26 numbers, and I played the whole song. And I woke a guy up in Korea, and he goes, "You drunk again, Jeff?" So anyway, I had Asian couple come to me in Vegas and go, "We need to talk." So I come over and they go, "You do that Korean." And I'm thinking, oh God, here we go. And he goes, "You don't sound Korean, you sound Japanese." And I was like, but I thought I was going to get, that was just when all that political correctness was starting and you're starting to become aware.
Right.
We lived through that.
Right.
The drunk driving thing all of a sudden wasn't getting laughs because it wasn't culturally acceptable to get laughs off of that. You remember all of that. When you were on the cruise ships, they were stricter than anything long before the culture caught up.
When I first started doing cruises, which was a while back now, 30 years ago now, there was no adult show. You did family-oriented, straight down the middle stuff, and that was it, man.
Yeah.
And you didn't say any
Well, they took the passengers filled out basically your job was on what they filled out.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they got a bunch of negative,
well, you didn't come back.
So I've heard they lock you guys in steerage and you can't come out and mingle with the.
Well, some people get passenger status. That's something you negotiate.
There's some differences between the different lines, but basically, you get a cabin and your days are yours. And and every line I've ever worked for, I haven't worked for them all, but every line I've ever worked for, you're free to roam the ship, you're free to eat, you're free to do whatever you want, but you can't be, and everything that's against the rules is not a problem for me now, which is gambling. Great. I can't go to the casino, not a problem. I can't fraternize with the females, not a problem. Right. I can't be drunk in a public area, not a problem.
What fun is this stupid cruise line?
Yeah, that's like for me. Yeah. Hey, I'm okay with all of those rules because it's not an issue for me. Right. Now, 30-year-old Jeff wouldn't have lasted a month on the cruises, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so where can people find you? Do you have social media? Do
you have I have social media.
Dry bar. You have a dry bar special?
I have a dry bar special, which has tens of views. And
well, maybe after this, you'll have 20s of views.
Well, if people want to see if people want to see my stuff, the easiest thing for them to do is just go to YouTube, put in my name, 8 letters, Jeff, Jeff, Jena, 1 N in Jena, and just say Jeff Jena Dry Bar Comedy or Jeff Jena Open Bar Comedy. Now, Open Bar is an anything goes comedy site, but
it's for heathens.
But my set is
family friendly.
It's my set I did on there is my relationship set, which I do all the time, and I've done in churches and that. It's just
only 4 F-bombs. That's it.
Not at all.
No big.
Oh, thank you for watching. But they can see me on Dry Bar Comedy or on Open Bar Comedy. Right. And got some other stuff coming up, but I don't want to talk about it yet because it hasn't happened. And, you know, it's like I go to do, there's a quick story. I'm living in Los Angeles. I'm at the driving range at Rancho Park, and I'm hitting balls. And a guy is there with a really nice high-end camera, like a film camera. He goes, would you mind if I film your swing? I said, what for? He goes, well, we're casting a commercial for Nike. Not at all. So he films me hitting some balls. 2 days later, I get a call. Hey, you want to be in a Nike commercial? Yeah, I'd love to, right? So I'm walking around. I'm walking, hey, man, I'm going to be in a Nike commercial. Hey, you know, I'm in a Nike golf commercial. Hey. So I get to the set that morning at a golf course, and there's 5 guys in golf outfits. And I'm going, whoever casts this commercial doesn't know golf because they cast 5 guys.
Right.
So the director and the
great
Nike
name for a hamburger joint.
Yeah. I see the director in some of the suits. The director lines us up, looks at me and goes, "Can I speak with you?" And I'm like, "I'm getting cut. I'm getting cut." So he brings me over and says, "Listen,
another reason to not buy Nike.
Somebody messed up, and yeah." I go, I get it. He goes, "Listen, keep the clothes. You'll get your day rate." I'm going, yeah, but these guys are in a national commercial. They're not just getting their day rate. They're getting thousands of dollars in residuals every time you show this commercial. And I'm going home with $700 and a shirt. Thanks.
Wow. With that.
Did that sound bitter?
Nice little nugget to close on and a little upbeat, positive story about Nike. Anyway.
We're so happy you're here, and I'm so glad I got to meet you.
And tonight we're going to be at the Big Z. This will be long after, we'll be long gone. Yeah. But tomorrow we're playing golf together with your son.
Yeah, my son just brought my son's band is the Wonderlands, and they were just playing. They played Cleveland, Ohio on Saturday night. He came to the house on Sunday, and then one of the other guys was nice enough to drive the van back
on Spotify,
and
the Wonderlands on Spotify,
on all of the platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and whatever. The Wonderlands,
and the Wonderlands.
Just sick of paying the bill. So.
We thank you for watching, download, share and Carollynn, tell them
subscribe, leave comments, go tell us how much you hate Nike on our comments. And we love you guys, and God bless.
And we'll see you next week. God bless you guys.